Red Bull has lost one of its most valuable assets to Aston Martin, but it seems the Austrian team wasn't ready to let go without making things difficult before the transfer became official. Adrian Newey has spoken on this matter and said that the team has blocked some of the tools he was working with during his gardening leave, which would make his transition to Aston Martin much more difficult, given that his work will be seen on their 2026 Challenger. With this in mind, it raises the question, did Red Bull intentionally slow down their rival's progress? If so, could this move end up costing Aston Martin more than they anticipated? Let's discuss, and stay tuned until the end. And not to miss the latest news, don't forget to subscribe. Undoubtedly, one of the most significant non-driver transfers in Formula One history is Newey's move to Aston Martin. When he announced his departure from Red Bull, many doubted he would continue his legacy elsewhere due to his age. However, Newey has proven, even to his manager Eddie Jordan, that he's not done yet and is eager to take on a new challenge. Unfortunately, this new chapter could be more complicated than anticipated, following Newey's comments about Red Bull blocking his access to essential tools during his gardening leave. As a result, he admits he will likely be at a disadvantage when he joins Aston Martin. Once Adrian Newey begins working at Aston Martin in Silverstone, he will be focused on developing a car for the upcoming season, meaning his direct influence won't be felt until 2026. This timing is significant because all teams will be operating in the dark with the new regulations. In a recent appearance on the Autocar podcast, Newey discussed how, since leaving Red Bull, there hasn't been a way for the team to continue innovating and implementing changes for the future. He agreed with this point, but added that Red Bull's decision to block access to some of his tools has made the situation more challenging. As he put it, "No, the team can't stop me from innovating, but they have blocked my tools." Newey went on to explain that while Aston Martin's primary goal is to excel in 2025, his focus will be on the 2026 regulations, a major shift in the sport. He starts his role at Aston Martin on March 2nd, but by then, the new aero rules will already have been out for 2 months. He further elaborated, "The aero rule comes out on the 1st or 2nd of January, so I will already be kind of 2 months behind the curve. But in truth, it's more than that, because not only will I be behind in looking at those regulations compared to when they've come out, but I'll also have trouble with the computer-aided design system as well. You need to be up to date with it in order to understand all the boxes and so forth. They are so prescribed." This situation becomes even more intriguing when considering the other notable talents Aston Martin has brought in for their future. Along with Newey, the team has secured Andy Cowell from Mercedes and former Ferrari technical director Enrico Cardilli, further strengthening their ambitions for the years ahead. In addition to all the talent they've acquired, Aston Martin will also be powered by Honda, the very same team that helped Red Bull return to glory with championships. Given this, it's clear that the collaboration between all these parties will play a pivotal role in Aston Martin's future success. Newey's decision to leave Red Bull was undoubtedly a bold one, and now he must blend his innovative ideas with the contributions of the other big names the team has brought in. If he is held back by his previous team, it could have significant consequences down the line. Many might wonder why Newey didn't stay with Red Bull, considering the success they've achieved, and instead took on a new challenge without Honda, in order to make his final contribution to the team where he spent nearly 2 decades. According to Christian Horner, the agreement was that Newey would fulfill his contract through 2025 and then step away from Formula One to become more of a mentor. However, looking at the terms Newey agreed to with Aston Martin, especially the equity component, it seems Horner's statement doesn't fully match up with Newey's actions. Horner commented, "The agreement between us and Newey was that at the end of 2025, he was going to step back from Formula One and really just be a mentor. Otherwise, I was going to lose the other technical guys to some rival teams." The deal he's got with Aston, with equity and so on, is something that quite simply wasn't on the table here. I can understand Adrian wants another run around the block in Formula One, and as a shareholder and partner in a team, I certainly don't blame him for that. Aston Martin will certainly benefit from Newey's expertise and the innovative strategies he will bring. However, one key uncertainty remains. Which drivers will be there to reap the rewards of his work? Fernando Alonso, who pushed for Newey's signing, recently discussed his future and emphasized that he may not be around to drive a car fully designed by Newey. Reflecting on his future in F1, the two-time world champion said, "We have quite a few good things coming in the next few months. In the team, step by step, we all have to have that first race win and hopefully fight for championships in the future. I am aware that this takes time, and I don't have that time in a way, but I am relaxed and enjoying the journey." Whether by coincidence or not, the situation at Red Bull seems to have started deteriorating since Adrian Newey announced his departure around the 2024 Miami Grand Prix. While it's clear that a team is made up of more than just one individual, with 2,000 people working in their factories, Newey's exit seems to have triggered a domino effect. This led to two other key figures leaving the team: Jonathan Wheatley, who took on the role of team principal at Audi, and Rob Marshall, who moved to McLaren. Looking back, it seems that Newey's departure was a catalyst for much of this, with him reportedly dissatisfied with the direction Red Bull took after Dietrich Mateschitz's passing. Even Jose Foray had warned that if Horner remained in charge following an internal investigation, a mass exodus was likely. From Red Bull's perspective, Aston Martin's announcement of Newey as their major signing, followed by his promotion in Silverstone in front of employees, was seen as somewhat unprofessional. After all, Newey was still under contract with Red Bull, even though he was on gardening leave for the year. Christian Horner elaborated, "It was obviously a large announcement by Aston, and Adrian has always tended to his own thing, so, obviously, it was a big moment for that team. They chose to celebrate it, perhaps potentially slightly prematurely, before he has finished his contract with Red Bull Racing. But obviously, it was a big moment for the team." Normally, one would expect Red Bull to be upset about Newey's departure, but there were already signs that this might happen. Newey had previously pointed out flaws in the RB20, which was designed without his full involvement, and some of those issues couldn't be fixed until 2021. As it turned out, he was right, and this raises a significant question about whether Red Bull will be able to recover from all these departures. The team has dropped to third in the Constructors' Championship, and had it not been for their dominant start to the 2024 season, it's unclear whether Max Verstappen would have held such a commanding lead in the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull is undeniably in a challenging position, and it's clear they need to take a hard look at their situation and figure out the best course of action moving forward. As Jose Verstappen mentioned, his son won't be driving a car that isn't competitive, so Red Bull is under pressure to maintain their high standards. Regarding Red Bull's decision to block Newey's tools and potentially slow down his transition to Aston Martin, it raises some interesting questions. On one hand, it could be seen as a strategic move to protect their own interests and prevent a rival from gaining an edge. However, this could backfire, especially considering how integral Newey's work will be to Aston Martin's 2026 Challenger. It's possible that this delay could ultimately impact the timeline of Aston Martin's progress, but it may also create a gap that Red Bull might have to fill sooner than expected. As for whether this will affect the 2026 car more than we can anticipate, it's certainly a possibility. Newey's absence and the challenges he's facing in transitioning to Aston Martin could result in a longer adjustment period for the Silverstone-based team. However, given Newey's track record and ability to innovate, it's likely that his influence will be felt sooner or later. The real question is whether this temporary setback will make a significant impact on the competitive balance between Red Bull and Aston Martin in the long term. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Red Bull's strategy. Do you think they're playing a dangerous game, or is it a smart move to protect their interests? And how do you see Newey's influence shaping the 2026 season? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to stay up to date on the latest changes for the 2025 season. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to not miss all the latest news from the world of Formula One. See you in the next video.